Your mind is the foundation of everything in your life. Every single thing you experience, every success you achieve, and every obstacle you face, it all begins in your mind. The way you think determines the way you feel. If your mind is filled with negativity, doubt, and fear, then your emotions will reflect that. But if your mind is trained to see possibilities, solutions, and opportunities, then your emotions will follow in that direction. Your mind is the gateway. At the moment you realize this truth, you gain the power to take full control of your life. Most people go through life believing that their emotions just happen to them. They think negativity is something external, something caused by the world around them. They blame their job, their financial situation, their relationships, or their past experiences for the way they feel. But the truth is, negative feelings do not come from outside sources. They come from within. They come from the thoughts you entertain, the beliefs you hold, and the mental habits you built over time. You see, your mind operates like a factory. It takes in raw materials, your thoughts, and it produces emotions based on them. If you are constantly feeding your mind with fear, self-doubt, and negativity, then it will manufacture feelings of anxiety, sadness, and frustration. On the other hand, if you intentionally feed it thoughts of strength, confidence, and possibility, then it will produce emotions of determination, resilience, and power. Think about this. Two people can go through the exact same situation and feel completely different about it. One person loses their job and falls into despair, believing that they are a failure, that life is unfair, and that they will never recover. Another person loses their job and sees it as an opportunity, a chance to build something better, a push to finally pursue their true passion. Same event, different emotions. What makes the difference? Their mindset. The first person allows their mind to be consumed by negative thoughts, which create negative emotions. The second person controls their thoughts and chooses to see things in a way that empowers them. If your mind is the key to everything, then you have to start treating it like the most valuable asset you own. You wouldn't let just anyone walk into your house and throw garbage on your floor, would you? Then why do you let just any thought into your mind and pollute it with negativity? You have to start guarding your mind the way you would guard a treasure, because that's exactly what it is. When a negative thought enters your mind, when doubt creeps in, when fear starts whispering, when insecurity tries to take over, you have to catch it. You have to recognize that this thought is not serving you, and you have to replace it with something better. This is not an easy process, and it doesn't happen overnight. It requires discipline, awareness, and constant effort. But once you learn to control your thoughts, you will control your emotions. And when you control your emotions, you control your life. The problem is that most people are completely unaware of their thoughts. They don't even realize the kind of negativity they allow to run on repeat in their minds. They wake up in the morning and immediately start worrying about their problems. They replay past mistakes over and over. They look at themselves in the mirror and focus on everything they don't like. They scroll through social media and compare their lives to others, making themselves feel like they are not enough. And they do this every single day without even realizing that these negative thoughts are shaping their emotions, their confidence, and ultimately their future. If you want to take control of your life, you have to start with your mind. The first step is awareness. Start paying attention to your thoughts. Start noticing the patterns that play in your head. Are you constantly criticizing yourself? Are you always expecting the worst? Are you focusing on what's wrong instead of what's right? Once you become aware of these thought patterns, you can begin to change them. You can interrupt the negative cycles and replace them with something more powerful. Instead of thinking, I'm not good enough, you train yourself to think, I am more than enough. And I'm getting better every single day. Instead of thinking, this situation is impossible, you force yourself to ask, what's one thing I can do to improve this right now? Instead of replaying past failures, you intentionally shift your focus to future possibilities. And here's the thing, at first it's going to feel unnatural. Your mind is used to its old habits, and it's going to resist change. Just like a muscle that hasn't been exercised in years, your mind will feel weak when you first start training it. But the more you practice, the stronger it gets. You start catching negative thoughts faster. You start shifting your focus more easily. You start noticing that your emotions are no longer controlling you, you're controlling them. Another important piece of this is what you expose yourself to. Your environment plays a huge role in shaping your thoughts. If you are constantly surrounded by negativity, negative people, negative news, negative influences, then it's going to be much harder to control your thoughts. You have to start being intentional about what you allow into your mental space. That means limiting your exposure to things that drain your energy and surround yourself with things that uplift you. Read books that inspire you. Listen to speakers who empower you. Spend time with people who challenge you to grow. fill your mind with ideas that expand your potential instead of limiting it. Your mind is not just something you have. It is something you must train, protect, and develop every single day. If you let it run on autopilot, it will default to negativity, fear, and doubt. But if you take control, if you direct it with intention, it will become your greatest weapon. Your focus is your greatest asset. Yet most people have no control over where their focus goes. They wake up in the morning and instead of directing their energy towards something meaningful, they let distractions, negativity, and external influences dictate their state of mind. They focus on what's wrong instead of what's possible. They focus on their weaknesses instead of their strengths. They focus on what they lack instead of what they can create. And then they wonder why they feel stuck, unmotivated, and frustrated. The truth is, whatever you focus on, you amplify. Whatever you give your attention to, you give power to. If you constantly focus on problems, your problems grow bigger in your mind. If you constantly focus on your failures, you start to believe that failure is all you are capable of. But if you shift your focus, if you start training your mind to lock in on solutions, opportunities, and growth, everything changes. Most people don't realize that their focus is being hijacked every single day. They scroll through social media unconsciously, comparing their lives to others. They dwell on past mistakes, replaying them over and over as if thinking about them will somehow change the outcome. They engage in negative conversation, discussing everything that's wrong in the world, in their jobs, in their personal lives. And because their focus is constantly being pulled in a negative direction, their emotions follow. They feel drained, they feel lost, they feel like nothing ever improves. But the problem isn't their circumstances, the problem is where they are placing their attention. If you want to change how you feel, you have to change what you focus on. Think about this. When you buy a new car, you start seeing that same car everywhere. Did the world suddenly produce more of those cars? No, it's just that your mind has now been trained to recognize them. This is how focus works. Whatever you tune your mind to, you start to see more of. If you constantly focus on why things won't work out, you will find endless reasons to prove yourself right. But if you start focusing on solutions, if you make the decision to shift your perspective, you will begin to see possibilities that were always there, but previously hidden from you. The world doesn't change, your perception of it does. Most people focus on negativity because it's easy. It takes no effort to complain. It takes no discipline to look at a problem and feel hopeless. But real power comes from choosing to redirect that focus. It comes from training your mind to find the opportunity inside every challenge. It comes from looking at an obstacle and seeing not just the difficulty, but the lesson, the strength, the wisdom that can be gained. This shift doesn't happen by accident. It happens by intention. You have to make a conscious decision every single day to control what you give your energy to. The challenge with focus is that it's constantly under attack. We live in a world designed to pull our attention in 100 different directions. Notifications, advertisements, other people's opinions. It's all designed to distract you from what truly matters. And if you don't take control, you will spend your life reacting instead of creating. You will wake up every day feeling like you're behind, like you're playing catch up, like you have no power over your own destiny. But the moment you reclaim your focus, you reclaim your life, because focus is the foundation of everything. Your success, your happiness, your sense of fulfillment all depend on where you place your attention. If you want to improve your life, start by improving what you focus on. If you focus on excuses, you will become a master of excuses. If you focus on possibilities, you will become a master of possibilities. If you focus on negativity, negativity will consume you. If you focus on growth, growth will become your new reality. This is not just motivation, this is science. Your brain is wired to reinforce whatever you repeatedly focused on. It creates patterns, habits, and beliefs based on the thoughts you feed it. And over time, those thoughts become your reality. Most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they focus on the wrong things. They focus on why they can succeed instead of why they must. They focus on how difficult something is instead of how rewarding it will be once they push through. They focus on their fears instead of their potential. And as a result, they stay exactly where they are. But the people who win, the people who break through, who achieve what seems impossible, who create extraordinary lives, are the ones who discipline themselves to focus only on what moves them forward. They don't waste time on doubt. They don't waste energy on things they can't control. They put every ounce of their focus into their goals, their vision, their purpose. And because of that, they succeed where others quit. You have to ask yourself, where is your focus right now? Are you giving your energy to things that empower you, or are you feeding the very thoughts that are keeping you stuck? Every moment you have a choice. You can focus on limitations, or you can focus on potential. You can focus on setbacks, or you can focus on the comeback. You can focus on everything that's wrong, or you can focus on what you can do right now to move forward. And that choice will determine everything. Focus is a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. If you've spent years allowing your mind to wander, letting distractions control your attention, letting negativity dictate your emotions, then yes, it will be hard at first. But just like any other skill, it can be developed. You start small by noticing where your focus goes throughout the day. You start catching yourself when your mind drifts into negativity, when your thoughts spiral into doubt, when your energy is being wasted on things that don't serve you. And every time you catch yourself, you pull your focus back. You remind yourself of what matters. You bring your attention back to your vision, your goals, your mission. And the more you do this, the easier it becomes. Eventually, it becomes second nature. You start automatically rejecting negativities. You stop dwelling on what went wrong and start looking for what you can make right. You stop allowing external forces to dictate your emotions and start controlling your own mental state. And when that happens, when you fully master your focus, nothing can stop you. Too many people go through life trapped by the need for approval. They base their decisions on what other people will think. They hesitate to take action because they're afraid of being judged. They hold themselves back, not because they're incapable, but because they fear rejection, criticism, or being misunderstood. And as a result, they never truly live. They never fully step into their potential because they are too busy seeking validation from the outside world. But here's the truth. If you live your life for other people's approval, you will die with regret. You cannot build a life for greatness if you are constantly waiting for someone else to tell you it's okay to be great. The moment you stop looking for validation is the moment you start truly living. The reason so many people struggle with this is that they have been conditioned from a young age to seek approval. As children, we are taught to follow the rules, to fit in, to do what is expected. We are rewarded for being agreeable and punished for standing out. Over time, this creates a deep fear of rejection. We start to believe that if we don't conform, if we don't get approval from others, then we are not enough. And that belief follows us into adulthood. It affects the way we think, the way we behave, and the way we see ourselves. We start basing our self-worth on how others perceive us instead of how we perceive ourselves. Think about how many dreams have been killed because of the fear of judgment. How many people never pursued their passion because they were afraid of what their family or friends might say? How many people stayed in situations that made them unhappy just to avoid disappointing others? How many people gave up on themselves because someone told them they weren't good enough? The need for validation is one of the greatest killers of potential because it shifts your focus away from your own purpose and puts it in the hands of people who don't live your life. But the harsh reality is that no matter what you do, you will never be able to please everyone. No matter how hard you try, there will always be someone who disagrees, someone who criticizes, someone who doesn't understand your vision. And if you let that stop you, you will never move forward. The truth is, people's opinions are temporary, but your decisions shape your entire life. Someone may doubt you today and respect you tomorrow. Someone may criticize you one moment and praise you the next. People's perceptions change constantly, but the consequences of the choices you make based on their opinions can last a lifetime. If you let fear of judgment control you, you will wake up one day realizing that you never lived for yourself, you lived for them. You played it safe, you stayed within the lines, you avoided risk, and now you are left wondering what could have been if you had just trusted yourself instead of waiting for permission. The most powerful people in the world, the ones who truly make an impact, are the ones who refuse to let the opinions of others dictate their path. They are the ones who take risks even when people doubt it. They are the ones who stay true to their vision even when it's unpopular. They are the ones who understand that greatness requires standing alone sometimes, that success demands the courage to walk a path that others may not understand. Every successful person, every leader, every game changer has faced criticism, rejection, and doubt. But what separates them from the rest is that they didn't let it stop them. They understood that their mission was bigger than someone else's opinion. They knew that seeking validation would only hold them back, so they let go of that need and focus on their purpose. One of the biggest traps people fall into is thinking that they need approval before they can believe in themselves. They think that once someone else validates them, then they will feel worthy, then they will feel capable, then they will feel ready. But that's backward. Confidence doesn't come from validation. Validation comes from confidence. You have to believe in yourself first. You have to decide within yourself that you are enough, that you are capable, that you are worthy, whether or not anyone else agrees. When you carry yourself with that level of certainty, the world will eventually reflect it back to you. But if you wait for the world to give you permission to believe in yourself, you will be waiting forever. The reason people seek validation so desperately is because they tie their self-worth to external approval. They believe that if people like them, then they are valuable. If people praise them, then they are successful. If people agree with them, then they are doing the right thing. But the problem with this is that it makes your self-worth dependent on something outside of your control. It makes your happiness fragile. It makes your confidence unstable. Because the moment someone criticizes you, the moment someone doubts you, the moment someone doesn't approve of you, suddenly you feel like you are not enough. And that is a dangerous way to live because it puts your power in the hands of others instead of keeping it within yourself. True confidence comes from knowing who you are and refusing to let anyone shake that. It comes from understanding that your value is not determined by the opinions of others. It comes from realizing that your purpose is too important to be put on hold just because someone else doesn't see your vision. It comes from recognizing that the only person who truly needs to believe in you is you. People will always have something to say. They will always have an opinion, but their opinion does not define your reality. Their approval does not determine your worth. Their validation is not a requirement for your success. The sooner you realize this, the sooner you free yourself from the invisible chains that have been holding you back. And when you do that, you step into a level of power that most people will never experience. The people you surround yourself with will either push you forward or hold you back. They will either fuel your growth or drain your energy. They will either challenge you to become better or keep you stuck in the same place. Most people don't realize just how much influence their environment has over their mindset, their beliefs, and ultimately their success. They go through life keeping company with people who discourage them, who make them doubt themselves, who fill their minds with negativity and distractions, and then they wonder why they feel stuck. The truth is, you cannot expect to grow into the best version of yourself if you are constantly surrounded by people who are not growing. You cannot expect to develop a powerful mindset if you are surrounded by small thinking. If you want to elevate, if you want to step into a higher version of yourself, then you have to be intentional about who you give your time, energy, and attention to. Most people do not consciously choose their environment, they simply accept it. They stay around the same people, in the same routines, in the same conversations, without ever questioning whether that environment is serving them. And because of this, they absorb the energy, the mindset, and the habits of the people around them, often without even realizing it. If you spend your time around people who complain, who doubt themselves, who make excuses, then eventually that energy seeps into you. You start adopting the same patterns of thinking. You start seeing the world through the same lens. But if you surround yourself with people who challenge themselves, who think big, who are constantly pushing for growth, then that energy will rub off on you too. You will start to believe in bigger possibilities. You will start to hold yourself to a higher standard. You will start to expect more from yourself and from life. The reality is your environment will either empower you or weaken you. It will either push you to go after your goals or make you feel like they're impossible. It will either inspire you to become your best self or keep you trapped in self-doubt and stagnation. This is why you have to be intentional. You have to take a step back and ask yourself, who am I spending my time with? What kind of conversations am I engaging in? What kind of energy am I allowing into my space? Are the people around me pushing me forward or are they keeping me small? One of the biggest mistakes people make is staying in environments that no longer serve them out of guilt or obligation. They feel like they have to keep certain people in their lives just because they've known them for a long time. They feel like they have to engage in certain conversations just to fit in. But if the people around you are not contributing to your growth, if they are not encouraging you to become better, then you owe it to yourself to set boundaries. That doesn't mean you have to cut everyone off completely, but it does mean you have to be mindful of how much influence they have over your mind and your emotions. If someone constantly brings negativity into your space, then limit your exposure to them. If someone drains your energy instead of uplifting you, then create distance. Protect your mind like you would protect your most valuable asset, because that's exactly what it is. The people you surround yourself with should challenge you to level up. They should inspire you to think bigger, to work harder, to dream bolder. You should be around people who make you feel like success is possible, like growth is inevitable, like you are capable of achieving more than you ever imagined. When you are in the right environment, your mindset shifts. You start believing in yourself at a deeper level. You start pushing past your limits. You start seeing yourself as someone who is capable of greatness, But when you are in the wrong environment, the opposite happens. You start doubting yourself. You start shrinking to fit in. You start lowering your standards because the people around you have low expectations. It's not just about the people you interact with in person. It's also about the content you consume. If you are constantly exposing yourself to negativity, whether through social media, the news, or entertainment, then that negativity will shape your mindset. If you are always watching content that promotes fear, that reinforces self-doubt, that fills your mind with distractions, then you cannot expect to maintain a strong, focused, and disciplined mind. But if you intentionally surround yourself with positive influences, if you read books that challenge your thinking, if you listen to speakers who empower you, if you fill your mind with messages of growth and possibility, then you will start to see the world differently. You will start to reprogram your mind for success. Your environment is shaping you every single day, whether you realize it or not. It is influencing the way you think, the way you feel, and the way you act. If you want to change your life, start by changing what you allow into your space. Be intentional about who you spend time with. Be selective about the conversations you engage in. Be mindful of the content you consume, because every single thing you expose yourself to is either helping you grow or keeping you stuck. Your mind is the control center of your entire life. Every action you take, every decision you make, every goal you pursue, it all starts in your mind. But most people never take the time to train their mind. They let their thoughts run on autopilot, never realizing that their mental habits are shaping their reality. They dwell on the past, worry about the future, and let negativity dominate their thinking. And then they wonder why they feel stuck. The truth is, your mind will either be your greatest weapon or your biggest enemy. If you don't control it, it will control you. If you don't train it, it will be trained by default, by negativity, by fear, by doubt, by the limiting beliefs you've absorbed from your past. But if you take control, if you intentionally shape your mindset, if you discipline your thoughts, if you develop mental resilience, then there is nothing you cannot achieve. Most people don't realize how powerful their thoughts are. Every thought you think sends a message to your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind accepts it as truth. If you constantly think, I'm not good enough, your subconscious will believe it and shape your reality accordingly. If you constantly think, I'll never be successful, your subconscious will make sure that becomes your reality. But the opposite is also true. If you train your mind to focus on success, on solutions, on possibilities, then your subconscious will start working to bring those things into your life. This isn't just motivation, it's science. Your brain is wired to reinforce whatever you repeatedly tell it. That's why two people can experience the same situation and have completely different reactions, because their mindset determines how they see and respond to the world. Building mental resilience doesn't happen overnight. It takes intentional effort. It starts with awareness, becoming conscious of the thoughts you allow to occupy your mind. Most people let negative thoughts take over without even realizing it. They wake up in the morning and immediately start thinking about everything that's wrong in their life. They spend their day dwelling on problems, on past mistakes, on things they can't control, and because that's where their focus is, that's what they continue to attract. But if you train yourself to become aware of these thoughts, if you start catching yourself every time you slip into negativity, you can begin to rewire your mind. You can replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones. You can stop yourself from falling into patterns of fear and doubt. One of the most powerful ways to strengthen your mind is to practice gratitude. Most people focus on what's missing in their life, on what's wrong, on what they lack, and because that's their focus, they feel constantly unsatisfied. But when you train your mind to focus on what you have, on what's good, on what's possible, everything shifts. Gratitude rewires your brain. It forces you to look at life through a lens of abundance instead of scarcity. It reminds you that no matter what challenges you face, there is always something to be thankful for. And when you cultivate that mindset, you become stronger. You stop feeling like a victim of your circumstances. You start seeing opportunities where others see obstacles. You start moving forward with confidence instead of fear. Another key to developing mental resilience is controlling your emotional state. Most people let their emotions control them. They wake up in a bad mood and let that mood dictate their entire day. They let stress, frustration, and anxiety take over without realizing that they have the power to shift their emotional state at any moment. Your emotions are not in control of you. You are in control of them. You can decide at any moment to change how you feel. It starts with movement. If you're feeling down, get up and move. Exercise, go for a walk, breathe deeply, do something physical to shift your energy. It also starts with focus. If you're feeling negative, ask yourself, what am I focusing on right now? Because your focus determines your emotions. If you're focused on problems, you'll feel overwhelmed. If you focus on solutions, you'll feel empowered. If you're focused on what's missing, you'll feel unfulfilled. If you focus on what you have, you'll feel abundant. The words you use also shape your mindset. Most people speak negativity to their own lives without even realizing it. They say things like, I'm always so unlucky. Nothing ever works out for me. I'm not smart enough, strong enough, good enough. And then they wonder why they feel stuck. Your words are powerful. They reinforce your beliefs. They shape your reality. They influence your actions. If you want to develop a strong mind, start being intentional with your words. Instead of saying, I can't do this, say, I am capable of figuring this out. Instead of saying, this is too hard, say, this challenge is making me stronger. Instead of saying, I always fail, say, every failure is a lesson that moves me closer to success. When you change your language, you change your mindset. And when you change your mindset, you change your life.